How's it going, guys? It's Glenn here with How Do I Central, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you about tea. Tea is very interesting to learn about, or at least I found it very interesting to learn about, and that's what this whole channel is about. It's about showing you and telling you guys about things that I've discovered that are awesome in my life that I want to share with you. So, most people think of tea as this. This is Twinings tea. You can see it better in that camera. There you go, Twinings tea. They think of tea as these little tea bags. You get it, you put it in hot water, you add some milk, and that is tea. Well, technically, they're right. That is tea, but not really. Let's just say I like to make things a little more interesting and go with the risk takers in the world. So I see tea as this. This is not weed, I promise you. It's called tummy tea. You get it from, actually I got this particular one from T2. I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm just putting that out there. I got it from T2, so if you're looking for a good source, go to T2. In Australia. Anyway, what you're gonna need is an infuser, if I can get the English right. You need tea. Now, the thing about tea is you're gonna be inundated with a whole bunch of tea when you go into a tea store, which is what you're gonna need to find. You're gonna need to find a tea store, walk on in there, and you don't need to look like you know what you're doing because you probably don't know what you're doing. Walk up to someone who knows what they're doing, who works there, and say, hey, I'm new to tea, but I really want this sort of taste. So it might be something like, well, I wanted sweet tea originally because I was trying to get off of soda. So I went up to the lady, I'm like, I want just a sweet tea that's good for me. And alas, she led me over to where the sweet teas were. This is the tea that I originally got. And it's called tummy tea. You can get it at T2. Again, I'm back. It stopped recording for some reason. I don't know why it does that. It keeps doing it. Anyway, I'm back. So, she led me over to the tea selection and I said, you know, I want something that's really healthy for me. And she's like, this is really healthy for you. The other caveat that I had was I wanted something that was caffeine free because I have trouble sleeping when I have caffeine. And I want to drink this quite often, so I don't want to have trouble sleeping. So she leads me over to this tea. She says it's really, really good for your digestion. Obviously it is because it's called tummy tea. And it's just so good. It's so, so good. So, you know, I was looking for a sweet taste. I asked the lady, I'm like, can I have some sweet tea? And she led me over to it. So ask. The other thing is they're probably going to have like samples for you. So it might not actually be like you can actually sip it and drink it. It's probably going to be like a sniff test sort of thing. That's what she had it for me at least. And so she was like, okay, here's two different ones, you know, here's two different teas, you know, sniff it. And it was in these jars and I was like, okay, I want the tummy tea. So I went with that. So just in case you want a sweet tea, go in there and just grab some tummy tea or just ask for some tummy tea. If you're looking for it in the Australia area, T2 is the place to go, in my opinion at least. I mean, you know, you might have some other tea house that you go to. This is what I got. That's all I got. So anyway, you're going to need an infuser. That's one of these guys. And that's basically all you need. Now, the last little bit that I want to go before I cut and I show you how to do it is tea. The reason that there's so much of it, the reason why there's so many different blends and they're all over the world is because tea comes from all over the world. I mean, you know, you can go to South Africa and pick up rooibos tea. And you can go to China and pick up, I believe, pu'er tea. Sounds really gross, but it's actually quite nice tea. And I mean, there's just tea everywhere. I mean, the normal Twinings, I have Twinings here because this is what my family seems to drink. They don't really get into the extra things. So the English breakfast. I believe it's an Earl Grey. It's not bad. It's not bad to have, you know, this sort of stuff. I'm just saying, if you're more adventurous, go to a tea shop, pick up some tea. You know, it's not that hard. That is that. Now let's go see how you make the tea. It's not that hard, but let's go see. So making tea is super, super, super easy. Where you would normally take, say, a Twinings box, you take your English breakfast, you take your tea bag out, and you probably go like this, and you dab it in there, and do all of that. It's basically the same thing, only what you're doing, I'm just gonna see, what's that looking like? That camera's got a good nice shot. What you do is you take your cup, I'm going to put it in front of this camera because you can probably get a better shot of it there. And this one autofocuses, so you should get a nice shot. I'll move the light, I'll get it all set up nicely. Alright, what you're going to do is you're going to take your tea, and here's your tea right here. And you want to keep it in a container because you don't want moisture getting in there and stuff. It ruins your tea. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your infuser. You can see it down there. But I'm going to show you on this main camera how you do the tea infusing thing. You just simply take it and you put it in the infuser. So you take it, and I mean it depends on the person, but I tend to take about, at least fill the bottom half, but I usually take it even farther, a tiny bit, like that, something like that basically. I can focus it a bit. There you go. Snap it closed. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to this camera right here, and we're going to drop it. I feel like uncoordinated because I'm looking at the screen. Alright, so you're going to take your cup, you're going to take this, you're going to put it in there. And now, basically what you're going to do is you're going to take this kettle, you're going to need a kettle, obviously. You're going to put it on boil. Alright, so now that that is completely boiled and everything's good, we have our cup here, and what we're going to do is we are going to take the kettle, and basically what you're going to want to do, if I can get my English together, is pour your boiling water right on into that cup, like that. And now, you can spin this around a little bit. Infusers come in a whole bunch of different forms, you know. You can get ones that are more like strainers, I guess you could say, and you can get ones that are like a ball on a chain. Basically this is like an $8 one. Basically all of them are $8. Well, no, all the simple ones are like $8. You really don't need a fancy one, but you can get that if you really are super into fancy stuff. So I'm going to move this to the big camera. There we go. And here is our cup. Now, if it's too hot for you, because obviously what you're going to want to do now is let it do its thing. Let the steeping happen. It takes about 3 minutes, but then it might be a bit too hot. So what you can do is actually add some ice in there. I mean, it's just extra water, right? So you add some ice cubes in there, and it'll cool it down faster, because otherwise it's going to take probably about 15 minutes to maybe 20 minutes before you can actually drink it, and that can be a little bit annoying. But you should be happy with the process. Now please be aware that tea is a bit of an acquired taste. Sometimes, you know, like, it really depends on the person, but it has each type of tea has a different taste, and don't be discouraged if the first type of tea that you get you don't like, because that's perfectly fine, you know. If you don't like it the first time, you know, don't let that set you off. Go and get another type. They're not too expensive. I mean, this one costs, I think, $15. You know, for a lot of it. I mean, this is after a lot of usage. It actually had a ton more. So, I mean, just don't be discouraged. But it's just an interesting way to try different things than the average sort of Earl Grey Twinings. You can also pick up, if the microphone will permit me, things like, what do we have here? We cannot be out of rooibos. We always stock rooibos. And the reason we always stock rooibos is because my family is South African. You can get rooibos actually at the shop and your supermarket. If you live in Australia, not in all countries, but rooibos is pretty common. So there you go. That's how you make tea. Happy tea drinking. Have fun doing it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. It is Glenn with HOWDOICENTRAL.com, so you can go to .com and find all of our tutorials. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Peace out to the streets on the sun. I'm trying to do praying for BF versus GF. I'm done. Goodbye.